I always feel like I'm waiting for it to go live, and then when it is, I'm surprised. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I know Elizabeth is here, and she's going to be with us for a few minutes, but we need a couple. I know it's Tori time. We need a couple, if you can, and if you would like to help by moderate, that would be awesome. So, to be a moderator, first, don't be a troll. I don't know why that word bothers me, but okay, so Truth Bomb 101. I have a headache because I listened to Chris Watts for 5.5 hours today. 5.5 hours. I listened to his entire recorded interview with FBI agent Graham Coder, CBI Tammy, who I think is just great, the Shanann's family attorney, and who else was there? I'm pretty sure there, and I couldn't tell because the voices, and I am, yes, I do have the transcript right here. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it was very difficult to listen to the full thing. And this actually, what I have in my hand here is, and I only have about 7 pairs of glasses right next to me. You guys know that about me already. What I have right here is the CBI report that Tammy turned in. Hi, guys. The CBI report that Tammy turned in after Watts' interview with them. And I want to say it's pretty thorough. And there's a couple things that I want to, yeah, I know, it was pretty ghastly. There's a couple things I want to say before we really get started on this live about my take on it. And then I'm going to share with you some of the takeaways that I feel that Tammy, yeah, you can come over and say hi. Hi, Gavin. I know my stomach is bothering me. I have to be honest, just listening to it. But the first thing I want to say, and yes, I am a little scattered also because of my headache. The first thing I want to say is please don't blast me for this, but it was surprising to me how likable Chris Watts came across today. And what came forward to me is how loving Shanann's family is. And I feel that they took him in as a son. They really felt this young man was a son to them. They felt that he was someone who would take care of their daughter and their grandchildren. And I thought it was very profound when the attorney for the Rushek family said to Chris Watts, because he said, I know they hate me. And the attorney said, no, they don't hate you. And that was really, like, for me, that was a moment that I took away. You know what, I'm going to say we did not watch a video. I want to be clear. This was an audio today. They actually released the audio. We know there's a video, but I'm not sure when and if they will release it. I didn't want to just live stream it, just the audio, because I felt like most of you could listen to it. I'm going to tell you my takeaways from it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. And then I'm going to share with you some of the salient points. There's some great bullet points, but I want to share. And just so you know, if you're jumping in right now, don't worry. I have not said too much. Believe me. The couple things I want to say right off the bat. If you see anybody who is mean, unnecessarily cruel, or outrageous on the feed, please just hit it and report them. Just go ahead, and I trust you guys to get rid of, somebody who is just really inappropriate. All right, because we just don't dig that here. And Elizabeth is asking also, my assistant, she's been asking, we do have some people who volunteered to moderate in the past. We don't have anybody right now. If you can jump on and moderate, if you would respond to her, that would be great. Yes, I do think it was a great talk, Letty. And what else did I want to say? That's it for right now. Okay, so let's begin with the team we're familiar with went to see Chris Watts. I know it's very depressing right here. They went to see him, and a couple takeaways right away. First of all, he was very likable, and I know that's gonna perhaps some people, you know, like will just kind of go, what? But the thing that I really got from him is the split between what he did and who he is. It's almost as if he's this nice guy. He does this atrocious thing for which he knows and he's ashamed of and all this crazy stuff. And then he's just nice guy again. And it's almost like it makes me wonder energetically if we're dealing with somebody who is like, who really had some kind of split. And I don't know what that is. I don't know how to name it. I was reading an article today in Psychology Today about the danger of labeling everybody a narcissist, because then the people that really are dangerously narcissistic are the, I know, I can't talk about my dog right now. He's too cute. That we're kind of, I want to say, minimizing the impact of what a dangerous narcissist is, which I thought was very interesting. Okay, so let's take a look. This is the synopsis of their visit. I'm going to share with you the synopsis. There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm just going to kind of go over, but I think this part is interesting and why they went, which is important. Okay, on February 18th, 2019, at approximately 7:45 a.m., I, Colorado Bureau of Investigation CBI agent Tammy Lee, really? Okay, along with FBI Special Agent Graham Coder, Frederick Police Department Detective Dave Baumover, arrived at, and they black out the location, just so you know. The purpose for our visit to the undisclosed place was to interview Christopher Lee Watts, and they put his birthday, which is May 16th, 1985, concerning the murder of his pregnant wife and daughters, as well as discuss other individuals who claim to have had an affair with Watts during his marriage. And this is what I've been saying, guys, all along, that I really didn't believe Trent or this other woman. And they kind of went, they didn't find anything, and they asked Watts and he said no. Now, here's the thing. I know that you're going to say we can't believe anything he said, but there are some things I really believe that I want to just share with you before I get into some of this other stuff. I do believe that Watts really deeply cared for. Now, you might say he's not capable of love, whatever you want to say. I do believe he deeply cared for the Rushek family. I believe he really saw Frankie as a brother. I think he really worshipped Shanann. I really believe that the mother and father, Shanann's mother and father, were parents that he admired. And he let go some hints today that I'm going to share with you all about the actual murder, which I thought was very interesting. And there were a couple moments that I was like, the other thing he talked about, and it's really interesting how Chris has a way of throwing all the women in his life under the bus. And he does it subtly, and he does it here and there. The other thing, what does that say? Resurrected. I don't know what that means. Somebody named Carlos said that. Thank you, Alana. Yes, I think it's best to delete him. Okay, So I'm just going to look at this for a minute. Goodbye, Carlos. Thank you for taking that out. Yeah, I think he needs to be blocked. The years his mother controlled and beat him down, begin the honeydew guy just finally hit him and took all that anger out at one time. Okay. Let's get back to Chris for a minute, and hi, Sweet Pea. Let's talk about Chris, and let's talk about, I know my outfit matches, his outfit. When we look at Chris Watts and we look at how the Shanann's family really brought him into the family, we really get a sense that, and especially listening to Chris, because, and please, before you get all, you know, all negative on, I know, like the trolls are awake. This is really unsettling. You know, they're kind of coming out, but I'm glad you guys are catching them. One of the things I want to just say is, for a minute, there are some things that Chris Watts said that I think we can really benefit from. And I think we can really learn from what he said in some ways. And a couple things, and remember, it really is that quote of, there's a bit of bad in the best of us and a bit of good in the worst of us. And I really was impressed with how the moment that he really, I think, hit him in this talk was when they told him that Sandy didn't hate him. And he was just, it was like, she doesn't. And he did sound in some ways like a 5-year-old at different moments. So here's what's going on, you guys. I just want to say I'm having trouble because I can't really find a good moderator right now. So if there's somebody that would like to moderate, please let me know. Because we might have to self-police. Elvis Travels. Okay, I don't think I can somebody get rid of this guy, Carlos Matthew Reborn? I am having a little trouble. Let me just see if I can, you know me, here we go. Remove, hide him from the channel. Bye, Carlos. I got him. Okay. So, all right. Wait, who just said that? I just want to see if I have somebody that I know. Yes, Letty, thank you, love. I noticed that, and if Letty, if you see somebody else that you recognize who could be modding, that'd be great. Okay, here he is again. This guy, let me try to remove him. I don't know, I'm having trouble. Carlos, there he is, hold on. Can somebody put him in a timeout? There we go. Got it, spiritual solace, thank you. Yeah, I put Carlos in a timeout. Thank you, just keep an eye on him. Joe, you're so funny. Okay. I think what really hit me is that, and again, this is my overview on this, is that how he said more than once, Chris Watts said more than once in the interview, that he really wished he had turned away from NK. And I really get that her level of seduction was that, you see, with Shanann, he pursued Shanann. She was like, no. And then he was the guy who made sure Chris was making sure Shanann took her pills, her medicine after she was diagnosed with lupus. He was taking care of her. And when NK came along, she pursued him, and it was a whole new dimension for Chris. And listen, I want you to know I'm not trying to condone anything, all right? I really am not, but I do think one of the things we really have to, yeah, what's going on? How many Carloses are on here? I'm kind of getting that too. Gosh. Yeah, I think you're already a moderator, Spiritual Solace. You are. You have the wrench there. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to need to look and see. Thank you for blocking him, Kathleen. Yeah, I think they are. You know what? I'm glad you're saying that, Tracy Harvey. I'm not pro Chris, but I feel for him. You know, I think that, yeah. Let's see. Where is Carlos? I think we need to get rid of him. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let me just see. Let's see. Jill, I know, Chanel Charlotte, I am going to make you a moderator because I do know you. So hold on, add moderator. Okay, Chanel, Charlotte, you are now a moderator. Just made you a moderator. And then it looks like Carlos Martinez Invincible, he's coming back again. It's really interesting. Let's see. He just seems to keep coming back. So we're going to have to keep, oh, Cruz Boston, I'm going to put you on as a mod too. Thank you. Some of you I know, so I want to just put you guys in. Yeah, Carlos is back. So guys, let's let Gal says, and I believe he was a serial cheater. I think what's happening, you guys, is that, and this is, thank you. Anybody, just, you know what? Hold on one second. I have an idea. Let me just see if I can. I have an idea. Okay, let's see if she can. I don't know if Elizabeth is still there. Okay, great. She's taking care of this. So I just had an idea to get rid of him. So, okay. Okay. Great. Yeah, we are going to ignore him, but yeah. Okay. Elizabeth's taking care of it. So we're going to ignore our friend Carlos. All right. So, yeah. I think that what Chris Watts did is disgusting, but what I can't get over for myself is the idea that how incredibly likable he is, and how incredibly normal he appears. So what I want to say to all of you about this is that was one of the biggest takeaways I had from listening to Chris Watts. Now, it's what I don't get. Now, here's where we get into the crazy stuff, right? What I don't get is how he described how he killed Celeste and Bella. Now, there is a moment, by the way, and it was in the interview. I don't know if it's in the transcript here, but it was fascinating to me. There was a moment when he said he was sitting on top of Shanann. They had had sex. He's sitting on top of her, and he says to her something, but in the back of his mind, he said, I always knew it was going to go this way. And he kept saying he hadn't planned Survey 319. He hadn't, planned. It was so helpful, and he was trying to help people. I don't agree. I think, I've got to be honest, I really feel it was pre-planned. I just think that, yeah, I think so. I think it was pre-planned, and I think somewhere in his mind, this idea took over him. And I think that, it's like the weak-minded. And somebody said he did not have sex with Shanann. He may or may not have. This is what he said, okay? I just want to say that I'm taking what he said. Whether or not we believe it is not the point. The point I'm making is that there was a moment in the I think it may have been more than one moment when he said, I knew it was going to go this way. And I kept thinking, wow, he knew it was going to go this way. It's okay. So let's get back to this, because one of the things that I really noticed, and especially in the reflection of Agent Coder and Agent Lee, one of the things I noticed with both of them, which was very, very strong, was how much they were kind to Chris and how much they were able to elicit from him information. And obviously that's what trained professionals do. However, it was really, I hate to say this, but I am, because I know I can say it to you guys. You know, I think I really was kind of feeling in all of this that just this sick to my stomach feeling of like, you know, I felt like I was visiting old friends. And that's so strange, because I think part of me felt like I was listening to this because I think a part of me wants Shanann to be alive. I think that, and I actually, a big part of me, but I think, and I wanted to believe those girls are alive. And I think that, yeah, I think it's Sid said they had a grand old time. And let's see. Oh, hold on one second. Thank you, Rachel Jane. I appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat. That's very kind of you. And we can, you know, before we put all the judgment on it, let's just like say, you know, the truth of it is that that's what it occurred to me as. Now, before I get into the emotion of it, is that there's this part of me that looks, and this is the thing that I saw with Chris Watts, is that he was looking at this and going, I know this is crazy. I know this is sick. But he just had no remorse. He had no, and yet there were moments when he had remorse for himself. And I think that, you know, a lot of you have said that you felt that NK had a lot more to do with it. And while I don't think she was responsible for the murder, I think the way he described her pursuing him was probably very accurate. And I'm not saying he didn't play a part, okay? I'm just saying that he really felt that she was asking his opinion about things. And, you know, let's get away from Chris Watts for a minute. Let's talk about Shanann, because the thing I noticed in this entire thing is that Shanann really, she was a good person. You know, and I'm really tired of people saying, you know, she's not a saint. It's like, maybe she is an angel because she's not here with us, okay? So please don't dead bash, all right? I just can't do it. I can't play that game, because one of the things I think we're all here about is that we have all been deeply affected by this case. And when I look at what Chris Watts is now saying, you know, we all have to say, okay, thank God he's talking, even if it's not what we want to hear. This was something we didn't think we'd hear. And even the DA said, I don't think we'll hear this in his lifetime, or he'll never speak. And, you know, I just think, and somebody said, oh, how are you now with the psychic thing? And I was like, I'm not trying to be psychic here. I'm trying to be just empathic to the victims and what happened. And I think that let me get into this, because I think that's part of what we want to say. Okay. This is very interesting. Upon arrival to the prison, we were escorted into a large open room. I'm reading the synopsis from Tammy Lee, the CBI agent, okay? Let's see. The room contained empty cubicles with chairs, no computers, which lined the walls. We activated our covert digital recording devices and also used several covert video recording devices. Watts was brought into the room a short time later, and we asked him if he remembered us. Watts looked puzzled for a brief second and then indicated he recalled who we were. We asked Watts how he was doing, and he said good, and asked how we were doing. Watts said he did not expect to see us. S.A. Coder initiated the interview with Watts and explained that we were not there to speak with him about an open investigation. S.A. Coder explained to Watts about his life and situation that his life and situation was unique, and we wanted to fully understand what happened. S.A. Coder asked Watts if he was available to speak with us, and he answered, definitely. S.A. Coder told Watts if there was something he didn't want to talk about, that it was okay. S.A. Coder told Watts to tell us if he needed to take a break at any point. This is now, aren't we going back to looking at what the original interview was, right? So let's look a little further into this. One other thing that came out to me in this section that I think is important is they said, S.A. Coder explained to Watts that his life and situation was unique, and we wanted to fully understand what happened. Key. Rachel Jane, thank you very much for the super chat, Rachel Jane. I appreciate that. And getting back to this for a moment, I think that for them to say his life and situation was unique, what a strange word for a man that basically killed his family. And I do believe that this is going to sound really odd. It's almost like, hey, he forgot to kill himself. You know, it's like he went and he killed his wife, then he killed his 2 children horrifically, and then he forgot to kill himself. I knew there was something I forgot to do. I mean, it was an odd kind of feeling of like, and I think it was, forgive me, but I think it was like Nancy Grace or somebody said he fit the thing of like family annihilator, but he didn't kill himself. But yet there's a real split here we're seeing in Chris Watts. There's something that I haven't seen in a long time. And it's it's almost like this double personality of like a person who is actually almost living a second life, you know, and it's very odd that it's an internal life that's very much alive. And I want to talk about that because there is a moment. Yeah, I know. He said he didn't have a gun. That was why he didn't kill himself. But anyway, there is an interesting split here that's happening that I was kind of picking up on. That in high school, they asked everybody, what'd you do for summer vacation? And Chris said he lied. And he told them he went to China. And everybody was like, ooh, you know. And so somebody asked him, how was China? Excuse me. Somebody asked him how China was. And, okay, got it. Golfer gal, let's see, someone liked him and wanted, he had no girlfriends in high school. Yes, she's correct. He said he went to China, and then the teacher turns around and says, how was China? And he didn't know what to say. But I think that one thing is giving us a big clue into Chris Watts. Like that one big lie, it's kind of an odd thing. Don't you think? So there was something there that kind of struck me. And I'm not an expert in this arena, but I can tell you that he was really trying to be something he wasn't. And I think that was that's very big. And I'm not entirely sure. I'd love to hear what you think about that. You know, what you guys are thinking. Hey, Humanimal. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you. And, you know, let's go on with this just a little bit more. Okay. Let's see. Watts explained that he enjoyed being in this prison much more than the Weld County Jail in Colorado. Watts said when he was in jail in Colorado, other inmates would constantly yell at him from their cells, giving him, Watts, advice on how he could kill himself in his cell and what the other inmates would do to him given the chance. Watts said everyone in the jail knew him and why he was there. Watts explained the jail had to lock down all of the inmates just for him to walk down the hallway. Watts said he never actually saw any other inmates in the Weld County Jail, but he could hear them yell at him. Watts said he had been able to call his father, mother, and sister since he's been incarcerated. Watts said he wasn't sure what his parents were going to say at his sentencing hearing in Colorado and didn't expect them to be present since they had just returned to North Carolina. S.A. Coder asked Watts if he could start to ask him questions, and Watts said, go ahead. S.A. Coder asked Watts if he knew the case was a national story, and Watts said he learned it was after his attorney told him there were people from Australia asking about the case. Watts said he received numerous letters with no return addresses, but he was only allowed to read them and could not keep the letters in his cell. Like, okay. Watts said there was a person who lived in Broomfield, Colorado, who wrote him 4 times a week and wanted to come visit him. Watts said he also had people write to him that told him he was a monster, which he did. Thank you, Karen Lee, for the super chat. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, with regards to Trent Bolte, S.A. Coder explained the investigation revealed numerous people who claimed to have known, dated, or had sex relations with him. Coder asked Watts if he had heard about the people claiming to have had these affairs. He said yes. And his attorney had told him a male from Wyoming claimed to have had an affair with him. Coder explained Bolte's claims, and Watts denied knowing or having a relationship with Bolte. I don't know if it's Bolt or Bolte. Watts said he was shown a picture of Bolt by his attorney and he did not recognize him. Watts claimed he'd never been to Wyoming and indicated he's never had any gay experiences or interests in the past. Watts said Bolte claimed to have met him on an application called WhatsApp, and he, Watts, never heard of it before. And then they asked Watts about Amanda McMahon, and let's see. Walsh explained, Walsh, Detective Baumauer then asked him, showed Watts a photograph, the driver's license of McMahon. Watts said Walsh explained McMahon, I think Walsh is his attorney, claimed to have had a rendezvous in a Chick-fil-A parking lot. Watts said that he'd only been to one. Hi, Shan Mill. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm acknowledging people that are doing that. And by the way, if you get a lot out of what I'm doing, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and please give me a thumbs up. It really helps a lot with YouTube when you do that. Let's see, where am I here? Okay, he also said, Watts said he'd only been to one Chick-fil-A in Colorado, and it was located in Broomfield off of Highway 7. Then they asked him, which I thought was interesting, if they wanted to, if he wanted to press charges against McMahon or Bolt, and he said no. And what was interesting is how lucid Watts was. Check this out. Watts said there are always people who take advantage of situations, and they, Bolte and McMahon, need to look into themselves to figure out why they did it. Watts said he did not believe charging them with a crime would do anyone any good. I mean, it kind of gives you, a sense of, like somebody who has some scruples, and yet he doesn't. It really is kind of like this double personality going on in all moments, Oh my gosh, Shimmersol, thank you for the super chat. Love you and the views and insight. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And I've got to be honest, I really come on because of you guys, because sometimes I feel like, oh gosh, it's just water. I need a lot of water. I just feel like, but then I kind of realized that, I was talking to my UK publicist about my new book and stuff today, and we were talking about profound loneliness, and how loneliness really leads to kind of a personal inability to experience our own feelings. It's easy to look at other people's lives and other feelings. And, you know, when we look at it that way, we can really see how, you know, the sad part is Chris Watts had everything. I mean, yes, we can judge it, what have you, but, you know, for whatever reason, I believe he was good to his family. I believe he was good to Shanann and his daughters, you know, up until he went after Nicole Kissinger. And honestly, you know, people turn, people change, stuff happens. Okay, let me go on. Okay. So he didn't want to press charges against these two people. Now, with regards to Watts' relationship with NK, SA Coder asked Watts if he felt comfortable telling us if he had affairs with other people, and Watts said, sure. Watts told us he only had an affair with NK. SA Coder asked Watts if he ever had any one-night stands, and he said no. Now, here's the thing. We can all doubt it, and I know it's, you know, he lied about things. And at the same time, I think we also have to, it always catches me. The super chat makes me go, oh, Michelle Meeker, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. It's very kind of you and very generous, and it does help. So thank you. Let's see, Kissinger. Okay, what I was going to say about her is that I do believe, sorry about Gavin, just he saw a squirrel, so it's just all over. I do believe that, wait for it. I do believe that that he was not lying about that. And I think it's hard sometimes to empathically see into things, because I was always confused, even from the beginning, about what happened in the house that night. Don't you think? I mean, think about it. It was very confusing what was going on in there. And, you know, I really felt there was so much confusion because, you know, as an empath, as an intuitive, when I actually look at things, I'm looking through the eyes of the person I'm following. So, you know, when you heard me doing some posts like about NK's point of view or a different point of view, I was looking in the house through Chris, and it was like looking through a kaleidoscope. There was nothing clear about it. Amy C, a light in a dark world. Thank you. Amy C, thank you so much. Oh, you're from the UK. I love that. Haley Midgley, love your work, and thank you for your take on things. Help me process it a little better. Love and light. Thank you, Haley. I love that. Thank you very much. So when I look through someone who is, I want to say, the best way to put it, guys, is a split apart. I don't think Chris really understood what was going on in his mind. He knew he was doing this, and so he's totally lucid. I mean, we can't deny that. Do you know what I'm saying? We can't deny that he knew what was going on. But I think when I looked through his eyes, I think I was looking through energetically a plan of, and if you think about this, and this is really hard for me to say, but I'm going to be really straightforward about this. I think he actually tortured Bella the most because she was the most like him. And I think on some level he knew that that Shanann, and he said it in his 5-hour interview, he said she was a good person. She was a good person. And he kept saying that, like, she was a good mother, she was a good person. And, you know, I think that his torturing of Bella was that he was trying to kill himself by killing her. There was that feeling I had. And he kept like, I mean, the way he told it, okay, is that if honestly, he took out Shanann so fast. And in a funny way, I don't mean funny, haha. I mean funny, like, he took out Bella fast. And by the way, that whole thing about daddy, don't do to me what you did to Cece, that was not said. The Rushek attorney, I don't know where he got that from, but that was not anywhere on that recording. So unless Chris told him something privately, which I don't think, I think the attorney was maybe, that's my boy. He turns out the lights. Hold on, guys. Let me just turn it back on. Sorry, I know. Ooh, okay, you can sit with me. I know my heart hurts too. Thank you for saying that, Chanel. That is just so like, oh gosh. Anyway, okay, and Cruise Boston, thank you for that comment too. So I think what we're really talking about is that my sense of it as if I was in that room, I think that was in some ways like it was this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it. I saw why Shanann loved him. And in a way that kind of elevates Shanann, that kind of vindicated what was she doing with this monster. It's like whatever happened to Chris during those weeks with NK, he was completely incapable of looking at it until he got distance from it. And I don't think, and I just want to say, this is not like to make him some kind of, I'm not trying to vindicate is what I'm saying. What I am saying is that in many ways, this conversation had nothing to do with Chris Watts. It had everything to do with Shanann Ruchek. And the reason I say this is because he really stated she had nothing to do with the murders, which we knew, but we needed to hear him say it. And he also really built her up and said very kind things about, and he referred to her as his wife. And I really think that many of you have said this, and I've been loath to be negative about NK, just because I feel like, remember I said she was dangerously naive and people are like, she's not naive. Okay, I'm going to say she was dangerously naive. And not only that, I'm going to use the S word, stupid. That's the S word. This woman continued to pull him and lure him. Now, here's the thing. I don't like the fact that he threw her under the bus. Because, he should have said, nope, this isn't for me. I'm a little bit of the name calling only because it doesn't further the healing for Shanann's family and for all of us. And really the takeaway on this is one of the biggest questions everybody asks is why. And if you go back to what S.A. Coder says, he says, your situation is unique. They have no idea what Chris was or what caused this to happen. Now, I am going to say some things that may be like, what? Years ago, I was dating a guy, a doctor. Believe me, when I say this, I haven't dated that many people. It makes it sound like, but he was a great guy. And he went into the hospital because he was like, paranoid about his own health because his heart was racing and he was thinking he was having a stroke and all this stuff. And I just said I went into the intake with him and his doctor, but he was a doctor, so, a resident. But what happened was the doctor was like writing all this stuff down. I said, excuse me, he drinks a pot of coffee a day. Like, do you think that could try? Oh, no. And they were just so wrapped up in what they knew, the expert part, that they overlooked the obvious. And I want to say that my intuitive thing here is that what Chris said may have some truth to it in this. Bear with me. The truth part, yeah, I think NK contributed in a very big way, and you just said that, and I want to acknowledge that. Linda said that. Yeah, I think so. Cruise Boston said, "Move along if you're offended. It's fine. Yeah, just move along. It's there's nothing to see here. These are not the droids you're looking for, because what we're trying to do, and what the point of my feed is, to really honor and understand how wonderful Shanann was, these incredible kids. We can label somebody a monster and bury them and never understand how this happened. You know, even Tammy in the interview here says, did you ever like hurt a cat? You know, kind of thing. They're looking for something. They're trying to find the beyond the labels. So if we go into what Chris said here, that I think was very right on, is that he was saying how wonderful his family was. And yet, at the same time, was completely detached from it. It was the strangest freaking thing I've ever heard or seen in my life. Like, I was literally going, what? So let me get back into this. And the reason is because I'm bringing a point up and then it gets cut off, because as someone who's very intuitive, I can see into this guy who had everything. And here comes this woman into his life. And he even tried to say that if Shanann hadn't gone to North Carolina, everything would have been, you know, fine. He probably would have just gone with them for a week. But I have to say, I think that he was looking for something. I think that if we go back to how he tortured Bella, and I want to say emotionally tortured this child through this entire thing. And he said, well, it's not like I had a gun, because Coder was trying to say, would you have used that on yourself? And I think he was like, no, I wouldn't, like, I'm not going to use that, you know, that could draw attention. It was just like the strangest thing. Okay, so yes, Cassandra, NK knew he was married. I'm sorry that jumped. Thank you, J. Joe. Yay, you're here. I love Jennifer Joe. She's amazeballs. So she says great stuff. All right, so let's see. Yeah, Tracy said, much like the torture of him. I thought of many areas he may have done things different. Jill, the PL, said that. Let's see. Or maybe it's Jill, the PI. Ooh, maybe that's what it is. Okay. They should have brought an expert in. Yeah. And Holly, I think that's why we're here. I still can't get my head around why he killed his family. Okay. So let's take, did NK even exist before all of this? Yeah. Oh, he said we, and he said we at the about being out on the site, because he meant we have shovels. He wasn't talking about somebody being with him. So, hey, please, if you like it, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I want to be able to do more of this, I think, insight into really what's going on. And you know what? Please understand this about me. I'm not trying to offend people, but you know what? People are too frequently freaking offended, okay? It's like somebody's going to be offended if I say she's a biatch, and somebody's going to be offended if I say she's a beach. So it's not really going to matter what I say, because you know what? How we take it in is it completely subjective. And I want to remind you of something. If you don't take it in, you don't have to work it out. All right. So just don't take it in as meaning something other than just what I'm saying. It's like that thing Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes I'm just talking about something like, you know, I think this. And that doesn't preclude you from saying, gosh, I'm really angry about this person. I'm really hurt that this happened. But you know, what happens when we start just using cover-up words like he's an F, she's a B, they're a this, what happens is we're distancing ourselves, just like Chris Watts did, from the truth of our humanity, which is that, you know, I think that what Sandy Rushek did for all of us, Shanann's mother, by sparing this guy's life is we're going to get a chance to see deeper and deeper into something that's going on in this guy's brain. Some train of thought, something is twisting, that it's twisty. It's not making sense. And you know what I really wish they had done? They did not ask him about the picture of the doll. I really wanted to hear them say, and when you sent that picture of the doll with the sheet over it, what did that mean? I wanted to get really more about, yeah, I think if this guy can be so cold-hearted towards his own family, I wouldn't even call him a human being. And I want to say something there. You know, he is, even if we don't like it. See, we don't like that part of ourselves that this guy is representing, that he's walking amongst us as a human being, and we don't want that in our life. We don't want it in our community. We don't want it around us. But the only way to get rid of something is to understand it with compassion. I'm going to share with you, and I'm getting truth bumps. Oh, hold on. Truth bumps are coming. Okay. Years ago, I hated this job I had. Now, bear with me. I know it seems like I'm going, you know, to Virginia to get to Florida from, you know, from Georgia, but wait for it. Years ago, I had this job, and it was like I had this horrible fear of flying. I was terrified of flying. I went to everybody. I went to doctors, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I finally went to this coach who said to me, you know, maybe if you just pray that you're grateful for this job, you will be ultimately